The warning signs. The holographic display cast a pale blue glow across Captain Vex's reptilian features as he studied the contract offer before him. The numbers were astronomical, enough credits to retire his entire crew, buy a small moon, and still have enough left over to start a pleasure resort on Rigel Vui. "It's too much," he muttered, his scaled fingers drumming against the command console. "No one offers this kind of money for a simple elimination contract." His first officer, Zara, a Kithani with silver-white fur, leaned closer to examine the details. Her whiskers twitched with unease. "The target is a human colony on Epsilon Eridani IV. Population 50,000. Military presence minimal." Vex frowned. The Starfall Syndicate had built its reputation on taking the impossible jobs, the ones other mercenary groups wouldn't touch. But something about this contract felt wrong. "We've never targeted humans before," Zara noted, her violet eyes narrowing. "Most groups avoid them." "Superstition," Vex replied, though his voice lacked conviction. He'd heard the stories, of course. Every mercenary had. Tales of human adaptability, their strange resilience, their ability to turn certain defeat into unexpected victory. The bridge doors hissed open, admitting Dr. Krell, the ship's resident xenobiologist. The elderly Vorton moved with deliberate grace, his multiple eye stalks swiveling to focus on the holographic display. "Ah, I see the consortium has finally made their move," Krell said, his voice carrying the weight of unsurprised resignation. Vex turned sharply. "You knew about this." "I've been following certain patterns," Krell replied, settling into the science station. "The consortium has been systematically offering contracts on human settlements for the past decade, always through intermediaries, always with exorbitant payment, and always with the same result." "What result?" Zara asked. Krell's eye stalks drooped slightly. "The mercenary groups disappear. No trace, no distress signals, no debris. Just gone." Silence filled the bridge, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's systems. "That's impossible," Vex said finally. "We're talking about humans. They barely achieved spaceflight 2 centuries ago." "Perhaps," Krell said, "we should examine what we actually know about humans, rather than what we've been told." He manipulated the controls, bringing up historical archives. The official records painted humans as a young, relatively harmless species, curious explorers who'd stumbled into the galactic community by accident. Now, Krell continued, "Let me show you what I've uncovered." He input a series of commands, and new data appeared: encrypted files, redacted documents, fragments of classified reports. "Where did you get these?" Vex demanded. "I have my sources," Krell replied cryptically. "Look at the pattern of human expansion. Notice anything unusual?" Vex studied the star maps. Human colonies spread in a seemingly random pattern, often establishing settlements in systems considered worthless by other species. "They're not following standard colonization protocols," Zara observed. "It's almost like they're avoiding something. Or hiding," Krell suggested. "Now observe what happens when other species attempt to establish colonies in human-controlled space." More data appeared. Reports of failed colonies, mysterious accidents, unexplained disappearances. "The consortium wants us to believe humans are primitive," Krell continued. "But I've analyzed their technology. On the surface, it appears decades behind ours. Yet somehow, they consistently outperform expectations." Vex remembered his only encounter with humans, years ago on a diplomatic mission. They'd seemed friendly enough, almost naive, but there had been something in their eyes. A depth, a knowing that had unsettled him. "Show me everything," he ordered. Hours passed as they pored over the data. Krell revealed intercepted communications, genetic analysis reports, and historical anomalies that painted a disturbing picture. "Their evolutionary timeline doesn't make sense," Krell explained. "Humans developed from primitive primates to spacefaring civilization in a fraction of the time it took other species. Their genetic code shows signs of tampering." "By whom?" Zara asked. Unknown. But whoever did it was far more advanced than any current galactic civilization. Vex stared at the contract offer, understanding dawning. The consortium isn't trying to eliminate a threat. They're trying to contain one. Captain, the communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a priority transmission. It's from the human colony on Epsilon Eridani IV. Vex exchanged glances with his officers. How could they know about the contract? Put it through, he ordered. The holographic display shifted, revealing the human face. The man appeared middle-aged by human standards, with graying hair and piercing blue eyes that seemed to look straight through Vex. Captain Vex of the Starfall Syndicate, the human said, his voice calm and measured. My name is Colonel Marcus Chen. I believe you're currently considering a contract regarding my colony. Vex's scales shifted color slightly, an involuntary sign of surprise. How did you? We have our ways, Chen interrupted gently. I'm contacting you to offer a warning and perhaps an opportunity. Go on, Vex said cautiously. You're not the first mercenary group to receive such a contract. As Dr. Krell has likely discovered, none of your predecessors survived their attempts. Krell's eye stalks straightened in alarm. They'd been monitoring their research. We bear you no ill will, Chen continued. In fact, we'd prefer to avoid conflict altogether. But you should understand what you're dealing with. And what exactly are we dealing with? Vex asked. Chen's expression remained neutral, but something shifted in his eyes, something ancient and powerful. A species that has been deliberately held back, Captain. One that was engineered for a purpose we're only beginning to understand. The consortium fears what we might become if that purpose is fulfilled. Why tell us this? Zara interjected. Because we believe in choice, Chen replied. You can take the contract and face the consequences, or you can walk away. But there's a third option, which is, help us uncover the truth. The consortium has kept secrets from all of us, not just about humans, but about the nature of the galaxy itself. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge crew in stunned silence. Vex turned to his officers. Thoughts? It could be a trap, Zura said. Psychological warfare to make us doubt the contract. The data supports their claims, Krell countered. Everything I've found suggests humans are far more than they appear. Vex considered his options. The smart move would be to take neither side, to walk away and preserve the Syndicate's neutrality. But something had changed. He glimpsed a truth that couldn't be unseen. Signal the consortium, he ordered. Tell them we're declining the contract. Captain, Zora protested. They'll blacklist us. We'll lose access to their entire network. Better blacklisted than dead, Vex replied. And something tells me we're about to become part of something much bigger than mercenary work. As his crew carry out his orders, Vex stared at the star map, focusing on the human colonies scattered across the galaxy. For the first time, he saw them not as random settlements, but as pieces of a vast puzzle, one that someone had gone to great lengths to keep unsolved. The warning signs had been there all along. Now the Starfall Syndicate would help reveal what they meant. Hours later, as the ship changed course away from Epsilon Eridani IV, an encrypted message arrived from Colonel Chen. Welcome to the Resistance, Captain. The truth awaits. Vex knew they'd crossed a threshold. There would be no going back. But as he looked at his crew, loyal soldiers who'd followed him through countless battles, he felt certain he'd made the right choice. The galaxy was about to change, and the Starfall Syndicate would be there to witness it. Hidden potential. The frontier world of Nova Haven appeared unremarkable from orbit. A blue-green sphere with scattered cloud cover, indistinguishable from thousands of other human colonies. But as the Starfall Syndicate's ship descended through the atmosphere, Vex noticed something odd about the settlement patterns. They're not cities, he observed, studying the tactical display. They're nodes. Zara adjusted the scanners. Connected by what appears to be an underground network. Energy readings are minimal, but there's definitely something down there. Dr. Krell's eye stalks swiveled excitedly. Fascinating. The surface settlements are decoys. The real colony is beneath. Their shuttle touched down at the designated coordinates, where Colonel Chen waited with a small escort. Up close, the human appeared even more ordinary. Average height, modest build, nothing to suggest the power Vex had glimpsed during their communication. "Welcome to Nova Haven," Chen said, extending his hand in the human greeting gesture. "I'm glad you chose to join us." Vex accepted the handshake, noting the surprising strength in Chen's grip. "You mentioned the truth. We're here to find it." "Follow me," Chen replied, leading them toward what appeared to be a simple storage facility. Inside, a hidden elevator descended deep underground. "How many colonies are like this?" Krell asked as they descended. "All of them," Chen answered. "What you see on the surface is what we want the galaxy to see. The reality is different." The elevator opened into a vast underground complex. Advanced technology hummed along the walls, systems that rivaled anything in the consortium's arsenal. Humans moved purposefully through the corridors, their demeanor suggesting military precision rather than colonial casualness. "This is impossible," Zara breathed. "This level of development would take centuries, or the right genetic programming," Chen said. Dr. Krell was correct in his analysis. Humans were engineered, but not by any civilization currently known to the galaxy. They entered a conference room where several humans waited. One of them, a woman with striking white hair despite her youthful appearance, stood to greet them. "This is Dr. Elena Vasquez," Chen introduced. "She leads our research into our own origins." Vasquez activated a holographic display showing complex genetic sequences. Humans carry dormant DNA sequences that shouldn't exist in natural evolution. When activated, these sequences grant us abilities that defy conventional understanding. "What kind of abilities?" Vex asked. "Enhanced learning capacity, accelerated healing, resistance to radiation, limited telepathy in some cases," Vasquez listed. "But more importantly, an intuitive understanding of technology that allows us to reverse engineer and improve upon anything we encounter. That's why the consortium fears you," Krell realized. "You're not just another species. You're designed to surpass everyone else." "We believe we were created as a failsafe," Chen explained. "A species designed to restore balance if the galaxy ever fell into tyranny. The consortium discovered this decades ago," Vasquez continued. "They've been trying to eliminate us before we fully awaken. Every time they send mercenaries, we're forced to defend ourselves." "What happens to the mercenaries?" Zara asked, though her tone suggested she already knew. Chen's expression hardened. "We offer them the same choice we offered you. Most choose to fight. None survive that choice." An alarm suddenly blared through the complex. Chen's communication device activated, showing a tactical display. "3 mercenary ships just entered the system," he reported. "The Crimson Talons. Looks like the consortium didn't appreciate your refusal." Vex recognized the name. A rival group known for their brutality. "They're here for us as much as for you." "Then we defend together," Chen said. He turned to one of his officers. "Activate Protocol Themis." The complex transformed. Walls shifted, revealing advanced weaponry. Humans donned armor that seemed to flow like liquid before hardening into protective shells. Energy shields activated around the settlement. "We should return to our ship," Vex said. "No need," Chen replied. "We'll handle this from here. Watch and understand what you're truly allying with." On the tactical display, the Crimson Talon ships approached the settlement. They opened fire without warning, but their weapons impacted harmlessly against invisible shields. Then the humans responded. Beams of energy lanced upward from hidden emplacements, but these weren't ordinary weapons. They seemed to bend space itself, creating gravitational distortions that tore the attacking ships apart at the molecular level. It was over in seconds. Where 3 warships had been, only dispersing atoms remained. "Graviton weapons," Krell whispered in awe. Theoretical technology. No one has ever successfully created them. We didn't create them, Vask said. We remembered them. Deep in our genetic code lies the knowledge of our creators. As more of us awaken, more technology becomes available. This is what the consortium fears, Chen added. Not our current capabilities, but our potential. They've seen what happens when humans fully activate their dormant abilities. Show them File Omega, Vask has suggested. Chen hesitated, then nodded. The holographic display shifted to show surveillance footage from a remote system. A single human stood against an entire invasion fleet. As Vex watched in disbelief, the human raised their hand, and reality itself seemed to warp. The fleet simply ceased to exist. This was recorded 50 years ago, Chen explained. The human in question was part of an early activation experiment. We still don't fully understand what happened, but it scared the consortium enough to begin their extermination campaign. Why haven't more humans reached this level? Zara asked. The activation process is dangerous, Vasquez answered. Most who attempt it die. We've been working to make it safer, but progress is slow. And now the consortium grows desperate, Chen said. They're escalating their efforts. That's why we need allies. Vex considered everything he'd learned. The humans weren't just another species fighting for survival. They were living weapons, created by unknown beings for an unknowable purpose. What do you need from us? He asked finally. Information, Chen replied. The consortium has been gathering artifacts from across the galaxy, ancient technologies that might hold clues to our origins. We need to know what they found. You want us to spy on the consortium? Zara asked. That's suicide. Not spy, Chen corrected. Investigate. There are abandoned consortium research facilities, black sites where they studied what they found. We need access to those records. And in return, Vex prompted, protection, alliance, and when the time comes, a place in the new order. What new order? Chen's eyes held that ancient look again. The one our creators intended, a galaxy free from tyranny, where all species can reach their full potential. Later, aboard their ship, Vex's crew debated their next move. They're dangerous, Zara argued. More dangerous than anything we've encountered. But they're right about the consortium, Krell countered. I've long suspected they were hiding something about the galaxy's history. The question isn't whether they're dangerous, Vex said. It's whether we want to be on their side when they finally reveal their true nature. He made his decision. Set course for the Nexus Archipelago. There's an abandoned consortium facility there. Let's find out what they've been hiding. As the ship jumped to hyperspace, Vex wondered if he'd just allied with humanity's salvation or its conquerors. Either way, the galaxy would never be the same. The truth about humanity was emerging from the shadows, and the Starfall Syndicate had chosen its side. Now they would face the consequences, whatever those might be. The tide turns. The abandoned consortium facility on Nexus 7 loomed like a metal gravestone against the crimson sky. Vex led his team through the corroded entrance, weapons ready, senses alert. The humans had provided them with specialized equipment, scanners that could detect consortium security measures invisible to standard technology. Energy signatures ahead, Zara reported, her scanner pulsing with strange symbols. The main data core is still active. They moved deeper into the facility, passing laboratories filled with alien artifacts and mysterious equipment. Krell paused frequently, his scientific curiosity warring with their need for haste. Captain, he called softly, examining a peculiar device. This is predecessor technology, from the first civilization. Vex joined him. The artifact resembled a crystalline sphere, its surface covered in shifting patterns. The consortium was studying predecessor tech. More than studying, Krell replied. They were trying to activate it. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights bathed the corridors as blast doors began to seal. It's a trap, Zora shouted, raising her weapon. From hidden alcoves, Automated defense systems emerged, not standard consortium drones, but something far more advanced. They moved with fluid grace, adapting to the team's defensive positions. These aren't consortium designs, Vex realized as he fired at the approaching machines. They're using predecessor technology against us. The battle was fierce but brief. The human-provided equipment proved invaluable, disrupting the drone's control signals and rendering them inert. As the last machine fell, Krell accessed a nearby terminal. "Captain, you need to see this," he said urgently. The terminal displayed classified consortium files, records of experiments, archaeological discoveries, and most disturbingly, a massive conspiracy spanning millennia. The consortium didn't just discover humanity's origins, Krell explained as he downloaded the data. They've known all along. They're not a trade organization. They're the remnants of an ancient empire that once ruled the galaxy. The files revealed everything. Eons ago, the predecessors had created humanity as a countermeasure against their own empire's corruption. When the empire fell, its survivors formed the consortium, dedicating themselves to preventing humanity from fulfilling its purpose. They've been manipulating galactic civilization for thousands of years, Zora said, scanning through the records. Every war, every alliance, all designed to keep humanity contained. A new alert flashed on the terminal. Vex's blood ran cold as he read it. "They're mobilizing everything," he said. "The consortium is launching a final assault on all human colonies. They're calling it Protocol Extinction." They raced back to their ship, transmitting warnings to Colonel Chen and the human colonies. But as they reached orbit, they found themselves surrounded by consortium warships, not dozens, but hundreds. "This is Grand Admiral Thax of the consortium fleet," a voice boomed across all channels. "Captain Vex, you and your crew are hereby branded as race traitors. Surrender, and your deaths will be swift." Vex opened a channel to respond, but another voice cut through. "Colonel Chen, Grand Admiral, you've made a grave miscalculation." Space itself seemed to ripple. From seemingly nowhere, human ships appeared, vessels that defied conventional design, their hulls flowing like liquid metal, their weapons ports glowing with energies that shouldn't exist. "Impossible," Thax sputtered. "Our sensors showed nothing." "Your sensors show what we allow them to show," Chen replied calmly. "Did you really think we weren't prepared for this day?" The battle that followed would be remembered as the turning point in galactic history. Human ships didn't just fight. They rewrote the rules of space combat. Their vessels phased through solid matter, their weapons ignored shields, and their tactics seemed to predict every enemy move. But it wasn't just technology. Vex watched in awe as humans themselves joined the battle, floating in space without suits, manipulating energy with their bare hands. The activation process Chen had mentioned. More humans had successfully completed it than anyone suspected. "They're not fighting," Krell observed in wonder. "They're conducting a symphony of destruction." The consortium fleet, despite its overwhelming numbers, began to falter. Ships exploded or simply vanished, their crews transported to holding facilities on nearby moons. Then, something extraordinary happened. A massive shape emerged from hyperspace, a predecessor dreadnought, perfectly preserved and fully operational. At its helm stood Dr. Vasquez, her form radiating with barely contained energy. "The artifacts we've been studying," Chen explained over the comm. "They weren't just relics. They were keys. Dr. Vasquez figured out how to awaken them. The dreadnought's main weapon charge, a beam of pure creation energy. Instead of destroying, it transformed. Consortium ships caught in its path didn't explode. They evolved, their systems upgrading, their crews experiencing rapid genetic awakening. We're not here to destroy you," Chen broadcast to the galaxy. "We're here to elevate you. The predecessors created us to break the cycle of empire and oppression. It's time to fulfill that purpose." Across the galaxy, hidden human agents activated ancient predecessor installations. Technology long dormant came to life, offering advancement and enlightenment to all species willing to accept it. The consortium's leadership, faced with the choice between evolution and extinction, surrendered. Their hidden history was revealed to all, their stranglehold on galactic civilization broken. In the aftermath, Vex found himself on Earth, the true Earth, not the decoy world everyone knew. It was a paradise of impossible architecture and transcendent technology, where humans had achieved a perfect balance of advancement and nature. "You chose wisely," Chen told him as they walked through a garden where flowers sang in harmonious frequencies. Not all mercenary groups did. Some fought to the end, trapped by their fear of change. "What happens now?" Vex asked. "Now we rebuild," Chen replied. "Not as conquerors, but as guides. Every species will be offered the chance to activate their own dormant potential. The galaxy enters a new age." "And the Starfall Syndicate?" Chen smiled. "You'll be ambassadors, if you're willing. Bridges between humanity and the species we're helping to elevate." Months later, Vex stood on the bridge of his transformed ship, now equipped with hybrid human-alien technology. The galaxy was changing rapidly. Species were awakening to abilities they never knew they possessed. Ancient technologies were being shared freely. Wars ended as understanding grew. "Status report," he ordered. "All systems optimal," Zara replied, her own partially activated abilities allowing her to interface directly with the ship. "The Andromeda expedition is requesting our escort." "The first intergalactic mission," Krell added, his multiple eyes gleaming with excitement. "Who knows what we'll find out there?" Vex nodded, remembering the fear he'd felt when first offered that contract to eliminate humans. How different things might have been if he'd accepted. "Set course," he ordered. "Let's see what else the universe has been hiding." As the ship engaged its new drive systems, bending space in ways previously thought impossible, Vex reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The humans hadn't just been victims or even warriors. They'd been catalysts for the greatest transformation in galactic history. The mercenaries who'd refused to work for humans had been right to be afraid, but not for the reasons they thought. They'd feared humanity's power when they should have embraced humanity's purpose. Now, as the galaxy entered a new golden age, those who'd stood with humanity found themselves at the forefront of an incredible adventure. The truth had finally been revealed, and it was more magnificent than anyone could have imagined. The Starfall Syndicate had started as mercenaries. They'd become witnesses to revelation. And now, they were pioneers of a new frontier, where the only limit was imagination itself. The tide had turned, and the galaxy would never be the same.